Hey friends, welcome back to my kitchen. In this video today, I am going to be making some egg white crust pizza. I've made egg white crust pizza before with some previous iterations of my egg white bread versions, but since I have started proofing the bread from Keto Upgrades tip, and since I have started adding the frozen shredded butter, I have not tried making a pizza crust, and I thought it's going to be really delicious. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shred my frozen butter. I typically keep a container of frozen shredded butter in the freezer because it just makes it so much easier to pull out and use whenever I need it. I just go ahead and shred up a whole pound at a time, but I was scraping the bottom of the barrel here, so I'm going to show you how I shred the butter real quick, and then we will get started with the recipe. I use my salad shooter for this, which makes it super easy. But you can use a hand grater, just takes a little bit more elbow grease, of course. All right, I'm gonna pop the lid back on this and stick it in the freezer so it stays nice and frozen until I'm ready to put it into the batter. So the base recipe that I'm gonna be using for the pizza crust is my yeasted butter buns. I thought the texture of those would be really nice for a pizza crust. They got kind of a dense like chewiness to them, but with the frozen shredded butter in there, you get these nice big air bubbles. I just think it's going to be really good for pizza. So the ingredients, the first thing is some warm water between 100 and 110 degrees. And I have that over in my kettle waiting for me. And then to that, I'm going to add a teaspoon of honey and the active dry yeast. And theoretically, if the proofing does what it's supposed to do, the honey will get eaten by the yeast in that proofing time. And then of course, I'm gonna have some egg white powder. I'm gonna use 2 tablespoons of arrowroot. And in this recipe with the proofing, the arrowroot is not optional. If you're not doing the proofing step, then you can leave that out for a lower carb count. But the 2 tablespoons of arrowroot don't add a lot of carbs. It's about maybe 1 carb per serving to the recipe in the end. So it's worth it to me just to get the texture and the flavor from that little bit of arrowroot. And the yeast, again, technically should be eating some of the arrowroot in the proofing time. So you're not getting all of the carbs that come in the arrowroot, theoretically, in the end product. I'm also going to be using 2 tablespoons of acacia fiber, a half a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of cream of tartar, 1 tablespoon of gelatin or 10 grams. And then just to add in a little bit of extra flavor, I'm going to add in about a teaspoon of Italian seasoning and about half a teaspoon of granulated garlic. To proof the crust, I'm going to be using my Cosori dehydrator because it has nice big trays, and I think I'll be able to get, a decent sized pizza in there. So what I did is I just have my dehydrator trays down here, and I have a square of parchment paper on top, and I'm going to try to proof the crust like that in the dehydrator, and then slide the crust and the parchment paper off onto a pan to bake in my oven. Hopefully I won't destroy it doing that. We shall see. Just a quick break to chat about Element, who is sponsoring today's video. Element is an electrolyte supplement that has everything that you need and nothing that you don't. They don't have any weird fillers or colors. Their flavors are all natural and they're just sweetened with stevia. Each packet, they come in these nice little convenient packets, has 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. It is science-backed and formulated to help keep you hydrated. I love all of their fruity flavors. They're super refreshing, but right now they also have their seasonal chocolate medley pack, and these are a super nice and cozy way to get your electrolytes in a warm beverage. It's especially been nice for the winter here. Been absolutely loving these. So right now Element is offering my viewers a special deal where if you use my link down below and place an order with Element for anything, you can get a free sample pack to try all of their regular 8 flavors. This is a great way to try all the different flavors, or you can share this with a friend. It's a great way to pass it on. To get this deal, just use my link down below. It's drinkelement.com/indigo. That is DRINKLMNT.com/indigo. Thanks again to Element for the sponsorship, and now back to the kitchen. First thing I'm going to do is add my 236 grams or milliliters of water to my bowl. And my water is right at about 110 degrees. Almost there. There we go. Next, I'm adding my 1 teaspoon of honey, which is about 5 grams. 5 to 7 grams. I've seen different estimations for honey. Just gonna give that a little whisk. Then I'm gonna add my 9 grams of yeast. And 9 grams is about a tablespoon or 1 packet. I'm gonna sprinkle that over the top here. Now I'm gonna go throw this into my dehydrator so it can stay warm and start to activate while I get the rest of the ingredients together. Now to my KitchenAid bowl, I'm gonna add my 100 grams of egg white powder, 2 tablespoons of acacia fiber, which comes out to 12 grams, 1 tablespoon of gelatin, which is about 10 grams, half a teaspoon of cream of tartar, and half a teaspoon of salt. I probably could add the spices at this point and it wouldn't be a problem, but just to be on the safe side, I will add those at the end after whipping with the frozen shredded butter. Just giving this a quick whisk to get everything mixed together, and then I will go grab my wet ingredients. My yeast mixture is all bubbly and beautiful. I'm gonna whisk that together real quick. And I'm gonna add in my arrowroot powder now. 2 tablespoons of arrowroot into the yeast and water mixture. Give that a quick whisk. And now I'm just gonna combine these two. Get everything moistened, and then we will head over to the KitchenAid. I'm going to start the mixer out on low and slowly increase the speed to high to avoid splatters. And then I will mix it on high for up to 15 minutes until I get to like the marshmallow fluff, glossy, thick texture. All right, that took about 6 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in my 120 grams of frozen shredded butter. That's the equivalent of 1 stick or 4 ounces. And then I was thinking 1 teaspoon of the Italian seasoning might not be enough, so I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 teaspoons. And 1/2 teaspoon of the granulated garlic. Just gonna mix this on low just till it's combined. All right, just giving this a quick stir to make sure everything is incorporated, and then see how big of pizzas I can get here. I was thinking I could get 2 pretty good sized ones, but I am not sure. We shall see. All right, that actually looks really nice. Those are 2 like, you know, decent, good sized pizzas. So I'm gonna take these down to my dehydrator. I have it set up down in the basement, and I will let them rise. I have the temperature set at 103, and I will let them rise for 1 hour. Of course, you could make as thick a crust as you want. I kind of like the thinner crust. So that's why I made 2. You could make 1 this size that's double thick crust if that's what you're going for. But let's head down to the dehydrator. All right, I already have it set at 103 degrees. It was still on 10 hours, which doesn't really matter, but I will bump it down to 1 hour. And hit start, and we will be back in an hour to par bake these, and then to top them, and then to bake them again. There's about 15 minutes of proofing time left, so I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven. I am going to preheat it to 350. I usually cook the bread at 325, but because these are going to cook through pretty fast because they're so thin, I want the heat a little bit higher so I can get some browning on them in that shorter amount of cook time. Oh no. I totally just realized that I didn't put allulose in the recipe. Oh dear. Wow. It took until I talked about browning to remember that I didn't put allulose in the recipe. All right, well, we're gonna have some pale pizza crusts. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and increase the temperature. 375 or 400. I'm just gonna increase it to 400 because to get any browning on it at all, I'm gonna need to have a high temperature. Wow. All right, this is real life, people. For the toppings, I'm gonna just keep it really simple, but of course you could go to town on whatever toppings you like for pizza. Just gonna do mozzarella cheese. I just have this classic marinara sauce that's no sugar added. Gonna use that. Simple pepperoni and some Parmesan cheese. All right, 1 hour is finished and the dough looks interesting. Kind of cracked, and that's typical of what it looks like when it bakes without allulose. It cracks. So we shall see. It is pretty dry on top. I wonder if I could just go ahead and put the toppings on now and actually not do the par bake step, because I mainly do that so that I can spread toppings on there without smearing the batter, but obviously it's dry and hard on top, so I think I'll probably just do that. All right, I think it should be pretty easy to get these slid here. Okay, these are ready to throw into the oven. I will rotate them halfway through so that they cook evenly. I'm thinking they'll probably take 15 to 20 minutes, but I will time it and let you know how much it ends up being altogether. All right, I ended up cooking these for 20 minutes and they actually don't look too bad. They kind of browned pretty nicely at the 400 degrees. Let me show you what the bottom looks like. So you can see the crust, it's got a real nice brown on it. And the bottom with the butter, it actually looks really, really nice. I am so happy. I was afraid it was just gonna be completely pale, but goes to show you can get some kind of browning without the allulose. So let's cut one and see how it tastes. All right, let me go ahead and do a quick taste test. I am already confident it's going to taste delicious, but you can see it's holdable. It's not, super crispy on the bottom like it is foldable. It's kind of like the New York style where you could fold the pizza, but look at the bottom. It looks amazing. Oh my gosh. It is so good. It is so good. The crust is so buttery. It's delicious. I am curious to make it with the allulose and see if it's better, but this is delicious. So, so good. All right, I hope that gives some encouragement to you guys out there that can't get allulose or can't use allulose. You can still make some really, really delicious stuff. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I can taste the yeast from the proofing. I didn't get like a huge rise, like huge bubbles or anything, but I like a thin crust, and the butter gives a little bit of a crisp to the bottom. This is so good, you guys. So, so good. What I want to do is make a bunch of small, like individual size pizza crusts, maybe par bake them, and then freeze them. Then I can pull them out of the freezer, top them, and throw them into the oven or into the air fryer even, for like an easy lunch. That would be perfect. Okay, I'm super happy with this. I thought this video was gonna be a fail after I realized my mistake, but man, this turned out delicious. All right, I will be typing up this recipe and I will have a printable version down below. Apparently the allulose is optional. I am going to enjoy this for my lunch, and thanks so much for hanging out in the kitchen with me today, and I will see you again in the next video. so good.